about the significant changes that have occurred in the media space across the continent over the years. What's your take?
Right. So, especially when you look at the COVID-19 disruption,
Yeah.
right, it changed so much for the media industry, and it exposed the need for us to identify new business models
Yes.
for sustainability and to also diversify our revenue sources within media and to also understand the needs of our audiences. The shift basically changed what people consume and how they consume it. I think that's one of the things that has been a major change within the industry.
That's
brilliant.
very nice.
Yeah.
Some people are saying conventional ways are dying. And of course, we're embracing new ideas and fresh ideas, but there's a way to go about that. There's a lot of good work that's being done in your space. And I'm sure you've been an observer of some. Let's talk about the relationship between African governments and the media. And how free or independent is the media on the continent? Because you cannot separate those two things. How's it looking so far on the continent?
I'd say it's looking promising. We are aware of some authoritarian states where media is censored heavily, especially during critical moments within the country, like, for example, during election seasons. However, it's been on a good incline, I'd say. It's been really improving. And if you look at countries like Nigeria, Kenya as well, our media is able to speak freely, relatively, and to address some of the issues that we face. When you look at also investigative journalism, it's been beautiful to see how certain stories are brought to light and are actually taken seriously and matters are dealt with properly. So I'd say it's promising.
Today's World Radio Day, and the theme is Radio and Peace. And of course, that, trickles down to other formats of communication. David, you're a podcaster. You do all manner of things. And of course, there is the importance of independence when it comes to, journalists and podcasters and everybody in between. There is a niche space for the people that are independently doing communication in those spaces. So I like that you pointed out some of the countries that are doing well on the continent. Do you think that the African media space is adequately financed? Can we do better? Because it takes a lot of money to get a good product out. Aesthetically speaking, in terms of research, it takes a lot to get a good product and have people embrace it. How's that looking as well?
Again, like I said, very promising. If you look at, for example, film, within the entertainment space. There have been a lot of funds that are being released from 2019 till today to support the film community in Africa. We've also seen how, for example, streaming platforms are actually encouraging and pushing more of African content and working with African producers to produce films for the African audience. It's very encouraging to see that. Also, same for, I'd say, on the news side, it's important for us to, again, like I mentioned earlier, to think about other revenue sources, diversifying where we get our revenue from, and not just limiting it to, for example, ad revenue, which is what legacy media is primarily focused on. So diversifying that, identify new business models to basically sustain the industry.
I like that. You've talked about legacy media, and there's a nostalgia when you think about it. Some people grew up listening to radio, like today's World Radio Day, grew up listening to certain personalities and a certain way of doing things. And then innovation and emerging technologies have now come into the picture, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. When people look at traditional media or legacy media, some of them might say that it's on its deathbed. And there are some who are more than ready to put the nail in the coffin. And there are others who are saying, no, we can, either resuscitate here and there. What's your take from the perspective that you are sitting at? I've had the pleasure of working with Baraza Media Lab on different occasions, and you guys do a lot of work in equipping the media landscape in general. But what's your take on those things for the ones who are pumping in the nail in the coffin and the ones who are saying, no, hold on a little bit?
Yeah, we have to definitely acknowledge the role that legacy media has played in educating and entertaining the audiences. I think that's one thing we must acknowledge. What I would say is that it is up to legacy media to innovate, to sit back and think, okay, how can we remain relevant during this age? Because like you just said, the digital era is going nowhere. Absolutely. So I'd say that's what's important. I think legacy media is here to stay. mainstream media is here to stay. However, there are certain changes that have to be made in order for them to be able to relate to and also, fully understand the current audience and their needs.
Yeah. You're talking about making certain investments and certain changes. I remember when social media and digital media was coming up, there are some quarters that were looking at legacy media versus digital media as opposed to collaborating, and it's like two boxers in one ring and you're fighting each other, yet there's a lot of potential for collaboration. What are some of the technological innovative opportunities that legacy media can have in order to propel themselves a little bit further in this time of season?
A good example is podcasting, right? I know, for example, Nation does have a podcast.
Yeah.
And that is basically them embracing the new form of technology that is being used to disseminate information. So podcasting basically is that opportunity. So instead of saying, okay, this is not for us altogether, that is one opportunity that they can explore. And that basically allows people to collaborate as opposed to people being in silos and operating separately.
Yeah, I like that.
They're changing audiences. Everything is on demand. Life is quicker. I mean, when you look at it. And of course, the revolution is here. You must embrace it. But I like the collaborative efforts, when we see major media houses looking into other ways that they can target and reach people and their goals that we must set. There's a fantastic event that we're all looking forward to, and it's all about the opportunities moving forward. And it's the Africa Media Festival. How did this come about? And of course, what is the reception like, especially among peers and people that are willing to learn and understand where Africa is in terms of, emerging technologies and what it looks like in the media space. How's it going and where did it all begin?
Great. So Africa Media Festival is brought to you by Baraza Media Lab, and we are a co-creation hub for media practitioners. Our job really is to sit and create space for us to think, brainstorm, and identify ways to support the media ecosystem. And this came about after numerous conversations, we've been operational for a couple of years now, and we've observed the needs, the various challenges that the people that we serve are facing. And therefore, there was a need for a broader conversation to be had and for us to bring together these media stakeholders to have conversations, to ideate, to innovate on sustainable solutions. That's basically how it came about. And the reception has been fantastic.
Nice.
We have representation from various parts of Africa. We wanted to open it up not just to the Kenyan audience, but we have people from Nigeria coming in, South Africa, and other parts of the continent. And they're very excited about that. We have representation from different forms of media as well. We have podcasters, we have journalists, we have poets, right? We have writers and more. And it's very exciting to see the reception and to also, as we look forward to the 2-day conference from tomorrow.
Nice.
Oh, where you sit, real quick, this is a wildcard question, and how, the continent, has its own ideas and they want to shape and push their own narrative in their own way with our own accents and our own feel and texture. And we want to, give the sound effects our very own thing.
Yes.
We don't want anyone else to do that for us. How is Kenya looking on the African list? Because you've mentioned South Africa and Nigeria, and usually those two countries come up as, when they say Africa, sometimes you're scrolling and you're trying to find Kenya.
You're trying to find yourself.
And you're like, where's Kenya? Where's Uganda? Where's Rwanda? How does Kenya sit on the list when it comes to African creators and creatives, for that matter? Given this festival will have, an open door for many other Africans. How's Kenya looking? Is it a leader in this space, or there's a lot more we can learn from others? What's your take on that?
There's definitely a lot to learn from each other. I'd say that. However, as Kenyans, we actually have such great representation at the festival. And also, when you look at the industry in general, we have pioneers in film, in journalism, in music. It's not just, obviously Nigerians and South Africans. Yes, they're dominant, but we're also heavy on that, and we're representing very well. So even during the 2-day conference, there's a lot of representation, even from a speaker perspective, from Kenyan voices. Yes.
What can we expect? I know we're talking a lot about the media festival, but what can we expect to see or to hear or to leave with, even for somebody who is a budding creator? What are some of the things that they can expect to experience at this festival that'll change the tide for them, or even maybe be a catalyst for them to thrust themselves deeper into this media landscape?
We took some time to figure out which forms of media will focus on, at least for the first edition of this festival, and what emerging issues are, most pressing for us to address. And as I mentioned, this festival is more so a starter. We're opening up the doors for conversations to be had, right? We're bringing people together to ideate and to come up with solutions. So I would say that people should expect a variety of very interactive conversations. So we have panel discussions, we have workshops, right? We also have roundtable discussions as well that will take place to address some of the issues that we face. So we're looking at, the digital disruption. We're looking at mis and disinformation within journalism. We're looking at podcasting. What does that look like for the next couple of years within the African context? So much more. So if you're a budding creative, if you are established, is always something for you.
Nice.
Oh, this is exciting. I think we should say From Africa with Love. They decided to put it on the 14th. Maybe some of you can adjust your plans. 14th and the 15th of February 2023, right here in Nairobi. The theme is Reimagine Media. It's a 2-day festival. It's absolutely wonderful. I think, David, this is our kind of thing.
Oh, it's brilliant.
And
really
of course,
is.
you can find out more right here on the show. We're going to be giving you more details about that. If you're wondering how to distribute, how to monetize content, how you can be more plugged in, how you can network net worth better. This is the festival for you. And of course, I love the fact that you guys are doing something so inspiring for a lot of people. I think the timing is absolutely perfect.
Yep.
And of course, on social media, I think people can connect literally hours to the first day of 2 at the festival. Lisa, tell us more about how people can engage and contact you and see how they can come down. What are the details?
Yes, our website is africamediafestival.com, and we are Africa Media Festival on all social platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Are you a podcaster yourself? Because you've got a wonderful voice.
Oh, wow.
I think your voice is... I'm like, is it one of those people?
I know, right?
So in the evenings, I do my own podcast.
I wish.
So you're in the back rooms
Yes.
with the AC, and you get to decide where stuff
Behind the
happens.
scenes, yes, for
Okay.
sure.
No, you've got a beautiful voice, and of course, it's a pleasure to have you on the show this morning. Guys, you can throw questions at us, and of course, you can follow on social media and get on the hashtag Morning Fix, Nation FM KE on every single platform. I just want to do a podcast again. I just